Yes, what's good, people? Last Japan here, and yeah, just thought I'd do a little breakdown video of my track Ascend, which obviously features the vocals from AJ Tracey, released in like 2016, I think 2016, 2015, something like that. And yeah, just thought I'd do a little breakdown video, show you my thought process about some of the things that I've done in it, and yeah, just break the beat down for you. So yeah, let's jump into it. So when I first started making this beat, I remember that I had like really bad writer's block, which I find that I get quite often. So I remember just being like, I need to just start a few beats, just nice and simple, and just get them, get it off the ground. So the first thing I started with was this sound, which is like a sort of brass hit from Ultra Beats. If I get that up, play that. So that's just like the verse melody that's played on that instrument, and basically it's just from the Ultra beat. And if you listen to it dry, it just sounds like this. And then all I did was EQ it slightly and add a little bit of verb just to give it a bit of space. So yeah, it's basically, I started with that, and I think that's a sound that's quite synonymous with a lot of grime tracks. So I think that's what my thinking was at the time. And then the next thing I like to do is start with is hit up the drums. So as you can see here, I like to map out my drums basically all in audio. It's just how I prefer to do it. I just find it easier to like visualize what's going on and change various bits and stuff. So yeah, if we listen to the drums on their own, it sounds a bit like this. And then if I add the brass hit in, you can sort of get a bit of the groove going. And all those samples are just stuff that I've got from like sample packs and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. And then the next thing I like to go on to is the melody. Now it sort of changes from track to track what I like to do first. Sometimes I can like map the whole drums out for the whole thing and then get onto the melody. But yeah, I went for this, which is something Impy put me onto. It's Zebra 2, and it's the Hans Zimmer sort of sound pack for this synth. And there's loads of sounds in there, and basically I went for this sound. Again, that's just playing like a simple melody. And then you can see here, I just have the same thing, but that's just a mono version that I've got. And it's basically just so that, when you're listening to it on a club system and stuff, the original is quite wide, the original sounding synth, this one. So it's got a lot of reverb and echo and delay and stuff like that. So I just add this mono version so that when you're playing it on a mono system, it still sort of has that weight behind it. So if I play everything so far all together, so pretty simple. I think that's like one of the main things that, like, obviously I said in the beginning is that I had writer's block, and I think sometimes there's a tendency to overcomplicate things and make things a lot harder for yourself, when actually you just need to bring it back to just making a simple beat. So yeah, that is basically the verse, all the verses. The only sort of thing that I did to switch it up was halfway through the first verse, and obviously in the second verse, as you can see there from the MIDI, is that I just basically took it out. So it was none of the sort of melodies, none of these melodies were going over, and it was just the drums and that sort of brass hit.
Celtic bloodline, so man don't pet it. Who warrior in the beef man set.
And basically, I did the reason behind that and the thinking behind that is just to give the track some space, give the vocals some space to breathe. Sometimes you can add too much in and it just sort of muddies what's going on, and almost, if you get into adding too much into a track, sometimes it actually detracts rather than adding more elements, more stuff to it. It sort of pulls, maybe emphasis on the vocal and things like that you want to bring out. So going on to the intro, I just kept it simple. So this is another patch from the Hans Zimmer Zebra 2 synth, and it goes like this. Just a real simple chord / melody just to create some tension, and all I did with the drums was just sort of bring the drums in slowly, each element, just to give that tension. And then obviously I've got that brass hit, and I've just sort of automated the high cut on it just to come out, and also I think I did the low as well, just so that when it comes in for the verse, it's got that hit, punches. And then the only other bit to sort of take you onto where I've done some other stuff is basically the chorus. So the chorus, as I've said, the track is really simple. I wanted to keep it simple. So the drums essentially are the same throughout the whole track. I've just sort of added bits in and taken bits away where I've wanted to. And the only sort of other things are elements to add to the melody in the chorus. So if we have a listen here, so we've got the brass hit, which is the same. I've added an octave lower for this melody. I'll play it now, just to add a little bit of depth to the melody, which goes along with this. And then I've basically got this another patch from Zebra, which is just sort of counter melody. And then I think I maybe recorded this next bit out of Nexus, but it's the same, and it's just basically adding a little bit more texture to that same melody. I've obviously panned that to the right. So when you hear these bits together, and then the only other bit that I've added is the bass. So the sine wave, literally simple sub from the ESX24, which is now the sampler. Just a simple sine wave, nothing too major going on there. Just doing that pattern, and then to add to that, I've got a saw wave which I bounced out of Nexus, and that's just to add a bit of depth to the bass. Really simple. So then that's it. So if I play all those bits together for the chorus. I did a slightly different melody on that brass hitter for the chorus as well. And essentially that is the basic layout of the song. The only thing I did next was obviously mapped out the structure and arrangement of the track, and then added a few little bits and bobs. So obviously filtered out a few bits here just to let AJ's vocals come through on that specific part of the track. And then in the breakdown, I sort of took it back to the to the intro again, just to build the track back up for the last chorus. And then on the last chorus, I've only added one extra element, and that's just sort of like a metal sounding hit, which does this. And again, that is from the Zebra Hans Zimmer pack. So all together. And just a slightly varied snare pattern for the last chorus. And that's essentially it. And then obviously AJ came in and did his bit. We recorded this in my yard, just like, just a simple mic, nothing special. And basically I would have bounced the instrumental out into a new project just so that I didn't have any CPU issues while I was recording his vocal. And I didn't really do anything major with his vocals. Obviously it's not in this project, but all I did was is basically EQ it, de-ess it, and compress it slightly. And then in here, obviously I've got a bit of Space Designer, and it's just about the production that you do around the vocal and his ad-libs and stuff. So
panic, Trinidad boy, so I do speak Spanish. I'm mixed race, no, I'm not Hispanic. Squeeze off twice and I'll make a man vanish. Talk crowd in the West 10, get banished.
And there's ad-libs on his own.
Tragic. Have it. Back it.
And all I would have done is just widen them a little bit in the stereo field, and just in the chorus brought his vocal up slightly.
Terrence, AJT won't let a ting slide. Cruising your block, bare things in a ride. Your man them weren't prepared for the war. Rise, watchmen ascend to the sky. Last Japan, he's that guy. Man don't float.
And then in this section here, I remember when we recorded this bit, I sort of remember asking AJ to just sort of do a slightly different technique with the vocal and just almost sort of whisper it into the microphone, so it sounded like he was whispering this bit, and just add a little bit of depth to his vocal.
Don't ask a G too many questions, cause I'll bust mine, but is he gonna burst his? Get shot, no judge or curses. I told my bass, put a strap to your purses. Yeah, and she did that. You in the pants, stop spitting, take 10 breaks, that's your man.
And obviously that fits in with the little bits that I've taken away from the instrumental for that bit as well. And yeah, essentially that's it. That's the track in full. So pretty simple. And I think sometimes what I've learned over the years is that the simpler is sometimes the better results you get. So I'll probably do a few more of these. So let me know which track you want, and post it in the comments below. And this is Ascend featuring AJ Tracey.
AJT won't let a thing slide. Cruising your block, bare things in a ride. Your man them weren't prepared for the war. Rise, watchmen ascend to the sky. Last Japan, he's that guy. Man don't float on a rhythm, I fly. Dead MCs weren't prepared for the dubplate. Rise.